Hi, this is Richard Blade, and you're listening to the Blue Zone Podcast Network as it presents Permanent Record, an in-depth look at the classic albums of the 70s and 80s, albums which have earned a permanent place of honor, both in our hearts and in our record collections.
Welcome back to the podcast, everyone. It is the middle of November, and we are here to finally wrap up a-ha's Scoundrel Days. How's it going, Sarah?
Oh, it's going great, Brian. So happy to be here with you and to talk more about this album and finally wrap up our discussion on it. It's been a long ride, hasn't it?
It sure has been, and you know what? I'm wearing this sweater today because it's kind of cold here in Pennsylvania. It's windy, it's cold, it's blustery.
Yeah.
But maybe I need to take this sweater off because things are going to be heating up here
Oh, really?
as we talk about songs like Maybe, Maybe.
Oh, wow. Well, I will say that I think today is an excellent day to talk about the first song that we're going to discuss because it is so windy here.
The Weight of the Wind.
Yeah. The weight of the wind has been very obvious today with gusts of like 35 miles per hour. So it's a windy day.
Agreed. It has been very interesting here where we are at the Blue Zone Podcast headquarters, but we're excited. We're so focused on getting this last a-ha episode to you that we are putting ourselves in danger. A lot of people in our town are being evacuated to safer areas due to the high winds,
wow.
but we are staying here and getting this episode recorded.
Yeah, I missed that memo. But yeah, we are going to do what it takes to get this out to you before too long. Well, I guess too long is already come and gone. But yeah, here we are.
Now, before we get to the music, two things I want to talk about.
Okay.
First thing is I hope that everyone has checked out the Giddy Carousel of Pop episode number 25 that Sarah and I guest starred on.
Anywhere you get your podcast, you can find the Giddy Carousel of Pop. The most recent one that is out right now is the one that we were on. So we would really like you to check that out and then go ahead and check out the back catalog as well because they've got a really wonderful stable of guests on their show that you really need to listen to.
Gavin and Cy do an amazing job on the Giddy Carousel. We had a blast talking with them. And this is where you have to go if you want to hear conversation with Brian and Sarah on the Human League album Crash, because it's probably the only place it will ever happen because Sarah won't let us talk about it here. We also talk about some Sig Sig Sputnik. We talk about Tina Turner. Talk about Killing Joke. We talk about Coming of the Walk.
We do.
If you don't know who that is, shame on you. You got it.
As Andrew would say.
Yeah. Andrew, what do you say to people who don't know about the band Coming of the Walk?
Shame on you.
Exactly, my friend.
Shame on you.
So check out the Giddy Carousel of Pop. Please let them know that they didn't waste their time asking Brian and Sarah to guest on their podcast. And Sarah, one more thing.
Yeah.
This is our first episode that we are recording on a-ha since we have acquired True North.
Oh, that's right.
We earlier on talked about the first single.
We did.
From True North. And there have been a few other singles that we didn't really talk about.
Okay.
But we have the whole album. We've heard it a few times.
Yeah.
What do you think about it?
Oh, I think it's really nice. That sounds like a very lame kind of...
Sure does.
It's really nice. Well, but that's how I feel when I listen to it. It's a very, I don't know, cozy, warm feeling album. It's got a lovely sound to it. It's True North. It's really cold.
Yeah,
but,
I was going to say, how can this music sound so warm to you when they're like at the Arctic Circle recording
yeah,
it?
I know. It's kind of a juxtaposition of ideas there. But unlike some of the songs we're going to talk about today, I think that there is a warmer feeling on these songs. They just sound, I don't know, they're full, they're lovely, got some really, really nice orchestration and instrumentation on them. Yeah, we're never going to get songs like Maybe, Maybe again, which maybe that's a good thing. But where they've grown to in their career now and the type of music that they're putting out, I'm pretty good with that. And I really do like this effort.
I've really, really been enjoying the album. I think that almost all the songs on here appeal to me. I'm not skipping anything as I listen to it. On my initial listen, I wasn't a big fan of the second song, Hunter in the Hills. Someone online told me that's a grower.
Okay.
And they were absolutely correct. If I listened 3 or 4, I was like, this song is great.
Yeah.
So right now, if I had to pick some favorites, I would say my favorites are I'm In, Forest for the Trees, and Make Me Understand. I really like those songs. But pretty much I like everything that I'm hearing. The funny thing is, I think I've only ever listened to Cast in Steel once the whole way through.
Oh, wow.
I find it really hard to get through that album because the energy level is so low and it's so mellow. So from my limited recollection of Cast in Steel, I don't think the energy level on this is much higher than Cast in Steel.
Okay.
But there's just something about these songs
Yeah.
that make them far more appealing to me.
I think I understand what you're saying, and I think I agree with you. I don't ever pick up Cast in Steel to listen to either, but this one I feel, I don't know, just feel more of a connection to.
Yeah. It's the album where a-ha finally realized we put ourselves through complete misery when we worked together, so we're going to work in two groups. Paul went in and worked on his songs. Morton came in and sang them, and Mags came in and worked on his songs. Morton came in and sang them. Based on everything that I'm reading, all three of them were never in the studio together.
Yeah.
So it's a-ha. It really is all, but it's not really any sort of collaboration between the two main songwriters, which is interesting. And it seems like, hey, it worked really well because the songs are great. Maybe with them being happier and having less stress during the recording, it made for a better record.
Yeah. It's an odd way to make a record, at least to my understanding. But if it works for them and they're happy with it, and we're happy with it as listeners, then I think, hey, you do what works. So good for them for coming up with a way to kind of stay together and continue making music after all these years.
So we're enjoying it. It seems like most people who chimed in on our social media when we posted that we received the CD, they seem to like it as well. There are a few people who didn't enjoy it. I know Gabriel said that it's his least favorite of all a-ha albums.
Wow.
I wonder if that's still true. Maybe he hated it so much he didn't give it any further listenings. But I would be interested to know if he still really, really dislikes it like he did initially. 'Cause,
Yeah.
I like it more and more with each listen.
Yeah, I would agree. I think the whole album is kind of a grower.
That is just a brief little touch on True North. I'm happy
Okay.
that it exists. If it's the last a-ha album that we ever get, I think that they are, as they're apt to do so many times, they go out on a high note.
Yeah.
So we are going to wrap up Scoundrel Days. We have 3 songs to talk about.
Yeah.
And we kind of like to record our 75-minute episodes and only touch on one song to drag things out. We don't really like to do that.
That's just what happens anymore. Yeah. That's just where we end up.
Our lot in life seems to necessitate that. But we are going to get through all 3 songs today.
We are.
We have a number of comments from you all. I've been posting some things on social media. Thought I would give it a try. I asked you guys for a 1-sentence review of the album that I'm going to share as we record. So we'll be checking into Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, see if people responded or not.
Okay.
I know it's NFL Sunday, so here in the U.S., all these new wave 80s pop fans are probably watching Gridiron Action and not paying attention to our social media. So we'll see what happens.
Okay.
But what's the first song we're talking about?
Well, as I alluded to earlier, the first song that we are going to talk about today is track 8, The Weight of the Wind.
Your face looked new against the town. You've come to lose some memories. Like you, I came to touch new ground, but you want to lose the weight of the wind.
All right, that's a-ha, The Weight of the Wind, continuing their weather themes that started on the first album with Here I Stand and Face the Rain. We'll get rain again in a few tracks. We get the wind here. And then we're going to get a career full of meteorological melodies like Summer Moved On. Well, actually, you know what? I'm not going to list them. I'm going to see how many weather-related a-ha songs can you think of, Sarah? I just gave you one, Summer Moved On.
All right. Well, I'd say 6.
Because these guys have made a career out of, and you're a fan of weather.
I am.
So you should hone in on these. But
I
they made
know.
a career out of these climate-related songs.
Cold as Stone?
I'm not sure that's the weather, but I guess cold. Cold, the refrigerator's cold. Does that tie in with the climate?
Yeah. No, maybe that's not a good one.
I'll write it down, though, and give you partial credit. Cold as Stone. Anything else?
I'm terrible at this. This is a preview of my Trivia Showdown performance because I'm always so thrown for a loop when I have to respond on the fly.
Right now, everyone who's listening is ripping their hair out, screaming, crying in the rain,
Yeah,
crying in the rain.
yeah. Rolling Thunder.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one.
Okay, that would be another one.
In fact, I better add that to what I thought was the complete list because I didn't have it.
Did I find one you didn't have listed? Okay.
And I cheated. I went through the albums.
Oh, man. Yeah, here I am just coming up with them off the top of my head.
Can you get one more?
Besides Summer Moved On? I can't.
All right, well, here's what I wrote down.
I'm freezing. There's probably a freezing one that I can't think of.
Analog has a song called The Summers of Our Youth, and we don't play Analog very much.
Okay, yeah.
Crying in the Rain,
Yeah.
Mother Nature Goes to Heaven from Foot of the Mountain. That's a great song.
Yeah, but how is that meteorological?
Mother Nature.
Oh, okay. That's about as nebulous or as tenuous as Cold as Stone, I'd say.
Here I Stand and Face the Rain.
Phase the rain.
The Sun Always Shines on TV.
Yes.
Angel in the Snow.
Oh, right. Angel in the Snow. Yes.
Summer Moved On. The Sun Never Shone That Day. People are like, did I just download a podcast where a guy is going to list songs for the next 30 minutes that have sun or rain in the title? A Break in the Clouds.
Oh, nice.
Summer Rain from the new album.
Okay.
Rolling Thunder, which you listed.
Yeah.
And I gave honorable mention, even though these aren't really weather related, they sort of make me think about nature. So I
Like
counted,
Mother Nature?
Cold River
Yeah. It's Sycamore Leaves. Yeah. I
Yep.
thought of that one because of the
and True North.
True North.
Yep. So those are Aha songs with weather and or nature in them.
Okay.
Aren't you guys glad you downloaded this podcast and that you're actually spending time listening to it?
Wow. This is so worthwhile.
It is indeed. I had fun making that list, though.
Of course you
And that's
do.
all that matters to me.
Right. You do love making lists. Okay.
Yeah, lists are the best.
Ugh.
If I had to make a list of all the things I enjoy making, lists would be right near the top.
You are something. All right, so let's talk about Way to the Wind as the cold winds blow outside our door. This was, believe it or not, did you realize this was a B-side?
I believe that I did.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean,
Okay.
it sounds like a B-side to me. I like it, but I'm not surprised that it was a B-side.
Well, it was the B-side of Maybe when it was released in Bolivia.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I have all my notes about that on the Maybe section, but evidently it's the most sought after Aha 7-inch
Yeah.
record.
Uh-huh.
I did go out onto Discogs because, you see something is like, this is like the most sought after Aha record. Well, what does that mean? So I went out to Discogs
Yeah.
and it last sold on Discogs. Actually, someone just bought one.
Yeah, just last month.
Yeah.
Right.
So it sold in October on the 17th, where it was purchased. Darn, I forgot which was which. It's sold twice on Discogs.
Okay.
One time it sold for $128.87.
Uh-huh.
The other time it sold for $282.99. And I forget which one was just last month.
Okay, yeah.
It sold twice on like the biggest record marketplace on the internet, and it's pretty expensive.
Yeah.
So that's what it means when we say it's become a holy grail of Aha vinyl collecting. It really has.
Indeed. Yeah.
So they made a big mistake, in my opinion. If those are the two songs you're going to press to vinyl, put this song on the A side,
I agree.
in my
Yeah.
opinion. Yeah, so this is written by Paul. This is one of the songs produced by Alan Tarney.
Uh-huh.
Just a reminder, because we talked about him like 4 months ago in episode 1. He produced the really famous hit version of Take On Me. He's working with them on this album again on 7 of the songs.
Right.
They're producing 3 of them themselves. And of course, the thing that I love the most is that he wrote We Don't Talk Anymore, the song made famous by Cliff Richards.
Yeah.
It's so funny.
Okay,
till
I better
we
start
don't talk
talking.
anymore.
I'm talking. Hello. This is a deep cut, so to speak, even though it was sort of a B-side. But Totally80s.com says deep cuts like The Way to the Wind only add to the album's urgency, taking those Aha touchstones and giving them a darker, icier quality. There's that word dark again.
People are insisting that this album is dark. I have over the past week been thinking about that, actually.
Yeah.
And I'm accepting that the title track, Scoundrel Days, is dark.
Okay.
I'm accepting that track 3,
I've been losing
I've
you.
Been Losing You, is dark.
Okay.
There are some dark songs on this album. This, I would not say, is one of them.
Yeah, I don't know that I would agree as well. I found another review of this album that just came out since we started this discussion. It was just published on October 28th from a site called poprescue.com, where it looks like they go and they buy like cheap albums and CDs from places kind of rescuing them from oblivion.
Like a charity shop.
Right, yeah, very
This
much.
might be a charity shop classic.
Right, yeah. So that they reviewed the album and they said about Way to the Wind, it comes galloping with a wave of percussion and a wave of guitars. The band's vocal harmonies here are an absolute delight, and they offer a powerful contrast as the song evolves with each verse. Clearly, this is quite a heavy storm.
I agree with everything they said there. Everything they point out as being great in this song is indeed great. I have it in my notes.
Oh, excellent.
Yep, I love that.
Yeah, I was pleased to find that. I like what they had to say about this song.
Yeah, that's great. The only review I have is from Pop Matters. They say the second half of Scoundrel Days struggles to keep the momentum going, but is still far above mid-1980s average. The Weight of the Wind may be a doppelganger for The Sun Always Shines on TV, but it's a satisfying one nonetheless. I agree it is a satisfying song. I would never say that this is a doppelganger for the much, much better, much more epic single, The Sun Always Shines on TV, which to my mind is still one of the greatest a-ha singles to this day.
Oh yeah, that's an awesome one. Interestingly, in the Down to the Tracks book that discusses every a-ha song, the author says, musically, the track shares the propulsive drive of The Sun Always Shines on TV, replete with some suitably sorrowful harmonies and some gnarly guitar work.
Gnarly. People were just bringing back that word in my life.
Really?
Yeah, that's always on the radio. Remember just the other day it said on the screen, radio it said gnarly games.
That's right.
And I said it out loud. Gnarly games. That's
gnarly.
weird. Let's not bring that word back. Let's bring back awesome because I'm already used to
Bring
still saying
back?
that. Yeah.
When did it ever leave? Not in our house.
Do you have any more reviews?
No, that was it.
I transitioned right from the reviews in my notes to the sentence, boy, I like this song.
Oh, that's wonderful. I'm happy to see that's your first comment on here.
I think I liked it initially. I know that I liked this song right away, back when I was just listening to the cassette of this. And I think I liked it initially because it sounded the most to me like it could have been on Hunting High and Low.
Yes.
It's similar in a sonically spiritual way to Love Is Reason. And it starts off sounding very much like Blue Sky.
Oh,
And
that's interesting.
I have little samples to prove
Okay.
that point to you. So
Yeah.
here's the start of Blue Sky.
Okay.
Now here's the start of Weight of the Wind. So, it's
wow.
It's not exactly, but
No, but they are definitely related.
that's part of the reason that makes me think, oh, this sounds like it could have been on the first album, which when I
Yeah.
got this cassette, I loved that first album so much. So
Yeah, I would say the only difference between the beginning of those songs is that we're going to lead into a minor key for this one, and it's a major key in Blue Sky.
Gotcha.
So they were very similar. And I think they both have that wonderful electric cowbell.
Oh, really?
Yeah, there's definitely cowbell in this one. I said, hey, there's cowbell. I like it.
You've always been a cowbell fan.
I know. Well, I like cows.
Like I said, back in the day, this was one of the two songs on this second side of the album that got me really excited, really worked up. I'm a huge fan of 3 of the songs on this side.
Yeah.
But one of them, it's no surprise. You're going to know what it is when I say this. It's more mellow. It's sort of an epic, dramatic song. So I really appreciate it musically, but it doesn't get me excited and make me want to dance and sing along like a lunatic. Cry Wolf and this song are 2 songs that, since a very young age, I've really enjoyed. They make me think that, hey, this side 2 is rather good.
Yeah, I agree. I have also always liked this song, and I'd say it's my second favorite song on side 2 after Cry Wolf. I think I like Cry Wolf a little better. It is a little bit more dramatic, but I really do like what they're doing here in this song. We've talked throughout this discussion that this album is atmospheric, and I really think this song is another good example of this album having atmosphere. It always makes me think of a cloudy autumn day where those clouds are moving quickly across the sky. That's what I hear that's what I see in my mind when I hear this song.
I think that the cover photo of the landscape goes really well with this song. I was listening to it here at the table as I was working on my notes. I wasn't typing. I was just had my head in my hand looking at the table.
Yeah.
And I was looking at this picture. Oh, you know what? This picture looks like what this song sounds like.
I like that.
So in this case, for this song, that artwork works really well.
Yeah, I could see that.
I would be interested to know, we had a good number of people weren't really fans of that song. I remember in particular, Fragile Gods wrote a pretty intelligent post about why he didn't think it was worthy of being a single.
Okay.
And a couple other people chimed in too. I would wonder what those people think about this song compared to that song. Like if you don't like Cry Wolf.
How do you feel about Weight of the Wind?
Right, because I don't think
comparatively
it's much more advanced. It's not a great leap forward in songwriting compared to that song. This is a Paul song. Cry Wolf was a Mag song, and in my opinion, at the time, that was like the strongest Mag's solo musical composition that we'd heard yet.
Yeah, I would say the music in this song isn't as sophisticated or full sounding as songs on the first side. And I think that it does sound more like Hunting High and Low.
Yep. So
it's in a way, it's kind of a step backwards for the band, but it puts us in a place, that step backwards puts us in a place where we really enjoyed the music, and we, so I'm not upset with that from a fan perspective, from a, musical growth and progression perspective for the band. Maybe that's not so good, and I think we're just going to see a little more of that on this side. But
I'm sure the label was overjoyed.
Yeah, probably.
Since they seem to want to, push them into the pinup pop star
and,
image.
Very lightweight kind of stuff and just fun poppy songs.
One of the things I have always liked is you get that really catchy keyboard riff and it transitions like immediately into the verses.
Yeah.
And you get this keyboard riff, and then when the verses start, you're getting a nice guitar strum behind what he's singing.
Yeah.
There's no fancy transition. Like you get to the end of the riff and the verses starts. There's not like a measure where it's in a different key, so they have to very intelligently go through different chords really fast to get to the key that they need to be in. It's just a transition that happens, boom. I don't know, the sound of it has always been pleasing to me. And when the vocals come in, I love the music that we're hearing, and I love that strummed guitar. Your review from the charity shop website or Lost
Pop Rescue.
Rescue, they mentioned how much they liked the guitar in this song.
Yeah.
And
a wave of guitars.
And speaking of guitar,
yes,
there is like a rock and roll guitar solo in this song. It lasts for 4 very brief measures. In the middle of the song where there could be a middle 8, but there's not. This is another one of these songs where there's no middle 8 and they're just going to kind of have like an interesting instrumental interlude. There's like a guitar solo that a rock band would play.
Yeah.
And the only difference is that it's not brought up full front to the mix to be in your face like a rock album would do.
Yeah.
But he's like wailing on that guitar. I know that Paul was a guitar player.
Yeah.
And I know I can hear him strumming these chords behind the vocals. But when I said to myself, oh my God, listen to what you're listening to. Check out what you're listening to. It's a real guitar solo.
Yeah, legitimate guitar solo.
Which we've seen him do live and everything. But it was
That's
just
true.
surprising that it was on this album this early in their career.
Paul actually likes the demo version better than the official album version. He said that in 2011. He says the demo gives a better impression of what this song could have been.
Your face looked new against the town. You come to lose some memories. Like you, I came to touch new grounds, but you are
The author of Down to the Tracks book says the rhythmic complexities of the track are certainly more to the fore in said demo, but it lacks the escalating tension of the finished version. And then he mentioned how the band was experimenting with different versions of the track when they were on tour. There's a lot of different versions of it, but the one I like the best is the acoustic version from the Memorial Beach tour. That was really nice.
It did sound pretty good. Unfortunately, you never found a version that sounded great
Like-
enough that we can really share it here.
Yeah.
It seems like nobody really had a good recording of it from...
No.
I wish that we could have got a good sounding mix of that.
I know.
Because it did sound really nice. I have to say that the demo of this song is, out of all the songs that we're going to talk about today,
Yeah.
the demo for this one is the one that I found least interesting.
I agree. I don't really like this demo. I know he seemed to like the percussion in it, but I think it's too harsh. It's kind of distracting and it's relentless. There's that one sound in there that is just, it's so loud and it's very distracting to me because it never changes and I don't like that too much. I'm not a big fan of the synths that are added to the background of the second verse. It sort of sounds like a crude electric piano. Oh my gosh, Morton's vocals. Oh, they're so funny in this one. You know, you can tell he's trying stuff out and a lot of it doesn't work, like, whoo-hoo, suck it to me. Like that was not good. Suck it to me. Oh, wow. What is he from, like the 60s? Oh, yeah.
So speaking of the electronic sounds that are added to the second verse there, we get a lot of great artificial sounds in the real version of the song, in the album version that we're talking about. We're getting some great keyboard 80s artificial sounds. We're getting some flashy percussion tricks to keep your interest up here as the song goes along. And that's, like I said, that's something that I noticed on the second side of the album. Because the songs aren't up to the level of the tunes on side one, they're working hard with their drum programming, their electronic bleeps and blips to keep things interesting.
Yeah, but I will say that all those sounds do make this song sound very much of its time. You know, we have on the first side some examples of more fuller or more orchestral types of arrangements, and this one is like very much stuck in the synthesizer programmed drums world, which, I mean, we love that, but it also does very much date the song and kind of constrains it a little bit as far as how it presents to the audience.
I don't see that as a bad thing.
Oh no, like it may be a step backwards as we're saying, you know, as their musical progression, but I still like how it sounds. I'm all good with that.
I actually did some math. I crunched the numbers.
Oh.
Because I said, well, I'm going to go on here and I'm going to say that these songs on side 2 are not up to the par
Okay.
of the songs on side 1. So they're trying to do little tricks to keep you interested.
Yeah.
And I think really that the songs on side 1 are longer in duration because there's just more meat on them, bones, as people say. There's more meat in those songs. So I ran the numbers. Side 1, the song average length for a song on side 1 is 4 minutes and 18 seconds.
Okay.
On side 2, the average length of a song is only 3 minutes and 34 seconds. So it's
Wow.
a big difference, almost
That is.
40 seconds.
Yeah, that is a big difference.
So that's another reason why I think, we're getting such wild experimentation and wild sounds and little tricky percussion things here, just kind of keeping you interested in the tunes.
Yeah. In addition to the electronic sounds, I want to spend a moment talking about Morton's vocal delivery. I know we talk about that every time and how great he's a singer, and that's we do that all the time. But there's a lot of different sounds he has in this song. He does breathy singing, he does some wailing, he almost growls a little, and his ad-libs are really, really good. I like how he holds a lot of the notes for a long time and then just very subtly kind of glissades to the next line. I like his vocal performance here, and I think it's another thing that's helping to keep interest in this song, just changing things up a little bit. And I love the multiple harmonies and voices in the chorus. I think that turns out really, really well. It sounds like moans on the wind. Those harmonies are really nicely layered, and it just kind of presents this atmosphere, as I say all the time, of kind of, ooh, it's just, I really like the effect that they give.
Yeah, I love the background vocals on this song as well. Pretty sure I can hear distinctly in that mix. I can hear Paul singing in the background. I have said before, I'm not a big fan of the vocals in Savoy. I'm not a big fan of the vocals in Bridges, but I like the mix of Paul's vocals with Morton's in this song as a background vocalist. It turns out I just don't like Paul as a lead vocalist. If he wants to sing background, I give him a thumbs up. Keep it up, buddy. We say this every single song. Morton's doing a great song. Well, not every song, because I tried to shame him in October because I didn't like that singing.
Yeah.
But in most songs, you're getting great vocals from Morton Harkett. And here we get one of the coolest things he ever did,
Ooh,
which is
what is it?
the whisper of Jealous Mind.
Oh, yeah. I like how he enunciates clear and cruel. And then jealous mind. Yeah, that delivery of that part of the song is really, really good.
So clear and cruel in your jealous mind. But you got
This is a song it's not on the level of the swing of things, but I think it's a pretty great song.
Yes.
And if you're a fan of the Vince Clarke school of songwriting, I think you're going to love this one. Like if you love that kind of riffy synth pop from the mid to late 80s, this has a great sing-along melody, has a catchy little riff like Vince used to write, and this will be one of your favorites if that's the kind of music you like, I think.
I like that assessment. Very good.
All right, so that brings us to the A side of the single that we were just referring to a while back. And this is a song, side 2, track 4. It's called Maybe Maybe.
I could be wrong, so wrong. I could be wrong, so wrong. I could be wrong, so wrong. I could be wrong, so
Oh boy. Oh boy. Oh boy. Yeah, this song, it was the crazy Bolivian single for some reason. I have no idea why they did that. But it was also a B-side. This was also a B-side. It was the B-side of Cry Wolf.
And that sounds appropriate to me. I think we mentioned when we talked about Cry Wolf that was like the first Mags-focused Aha single because he was the music writer for both of those songs.
Right.
And actually, we'll find out he writes the insipid lyrics on this song as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, that single, that rare single, it's very plain looking, by the way. They have a picture of it on Discogs. There's no picture sleeve, just a WIA label on there. I don't think I would pay $200 for it.
I don't think I would either. No, I would not. Yeah, even though this was a single in Bolivia, obviously we couldn't find any real reviews of it. So I would just have the ones that I've been using in the snippets of articles that I have. I really like what Ned Raggett says about this in his discussion of the album. He says, maybe is the definition of a perfect trifle, 2.5 minutes of sprightliness.
Yeah, that sums it up pretty well.
Yeah.
I keep going to a website called Nirvana, and they said that this is upbeat and perky, Maybe has either one of the most tongue-in-cheek or most woeful lyrics ever. Maybe it was over when you chucked me out the rover at full speed. It's a decent tune, if a little lightweight, but in the 1986-87 pop landscape, it probably could have been a huge hit. And I don't think so. I don't think this one was destined to be a chart-topping hit anywhere. I tried to see if it charted in Bolivia. I couldn't find a chart position for it.
Yeah.
For that single, it didn't seem like it did well. I figure if it did do well, it would have been easy to find that fact.
That's true.
So that's what I took it to mean.
Yeah, so you probably would agree more with what All Time Records said about this song, which was, there are a few lesser moments, none worse than Maybe, where the music and lyrics battle for which is worse.
Yes, I agree with that.
Oh, boy.
Well, actually, you know what? In a certain way, we'll go into this as we get further into it. In a certain way, the music is kind of fun.
Okay.
So I'm not going to completely badmouth
All
it.
right.
So like we said, this is the first Aha song to be written entirely by Mags.
Right.
He has written music before and then had Paul write the lyrics. He has co-written music with Paul. Here he writes the music and he writes the lyrics.
That's right.
So luckily for him, he has been providing a number of really good tunes as a co-writer, because if this was the only thing I had heard from him at this point, I'm not sure I would have ever forgiven him.
Even Mag says about this, it isn't the only time I've been disappointed with one of my own contributions. But looking back in the rearview mirror, maybe it wouldn't have been so brilliant as a sad song, which is how it started out, kind of. It was what the author of Down to the Track says, a clear tribute to his teenage sweetheart, Heidi Reifert. And the original lyrics are, by turns, sincere and jocular. Some of the old lyrics were, but if I ever write a word that hurts you, I shall break this pen in 2 million pieces.
And they sing that on the demo. That's still
right.
on the demo, yeah.
Yeah. So I mentioned that this was a B-side of Cry Wolf. We talked about that, but the crazy thing is that there was a website, it still exists now, it's called TV Cream.
Oh yeah, this blows my mind.
Yeah. I don't know when this happened. I can't find the exact page where this was posted. It's not in their current version of the website anymore, but TV Cream actually put this song on a list of top 100 B-sides, and it was at the very top. It was the number one B-side of their list of 100 B-sides.
And this was like of any group.
Yeah, because it was ahead of Rain by the Beatles. It was ahead of Please, 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 Let Me Get What I Want by the Smiths. And I don't know have any other examples of it, but the article said, if Aha had arrived on the pop scene a decade or so later, chances are that they would have been marketed not as teen heartthrob pop sensations, but as charming European indie eccentrics in the manner of the Cardigans or the Wannadies. Their hit singles were often weird enough, but their B-sides were weirder still. So that just blew my mind. Like, they thought that was the number one B-side.
That is insane.
Maybe that's why we can't find the website anymore with that information. Maybe somebody said, oh, what? Like we can't say that.
For the good of civilization, we've got to take this website down. Yeah, in an attempt to be clever, I wrote that this song sounds the way that the videos from Stay on These Roads look. Lightweight, cheesy, misguided, and beneath the band.
Well, yeah, I know. But I like this song for what it is. It is an ultralight little ditty. In my opinion, this song, more than any other track on the album, even more than the previous one we just discussed, this sounds more like something that could have been on Hunting High and Low, because the weight of it reminds me of Love is Reason.
Yeah, I wrote another track that harkets back to Hunting High and Low.
Harkets?
Yeah.
Was that unintentional?
No, it was intentional. I
Okay.
thought it was hilarious.
Oh, that is
Even though
excellent.
it's really not.
Yeah.
Another track that harkets back to Hunting High and Low, having a tone and feel not unlike Blue Sky or Dream Myself Alive.
Right, yeah,
Right.
exactly.
So yeah, if you're a fan of, if you're a huge fan of that first album, maybe this one will appeal to you more than it does to me. I am a huge fan of that first album, but I still don't really enjoy this song too much. Normally in my notes, I write, what do I like? And then I'd list lines and lines of things that I like.
Okay.
I only wrote one thing.
Really?
What do I like? And I said, and this may not even be a guitar, it may be a keyboard, I'm not 100% sure, but I said, I like the finger style playing on the guitar during the chorus. That's a nice effect.
Well, I think that the middle eight is super fun and playful.
Horrible.
Oh, what do you mean? And Morton, he goes, whoop, like he's very excited.
You mean around the 1 minute and 32-second mark where Morton squeals like a pig.
Yeah.
And I suddenly remembered why I never cared about this song.
Oh, no, I think it's so much fun. He's having a good time.
I described it as Morton's disturbing vocal ejaculation that heralds the insane musical break.
You just said that you like little pop riffs, little synth riffs, like little ditties. To me, the do 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 do. How is that not a cute little pop ditty riff?
I said that it sounds like the frantic kind of music that accompanies the bonus round on a low-budget digital slot machine.
Oh my gosh! Oh, I can't believe this.
That middle eight is terrible. Oh my God, it is so disturbed.
Wow.
If I'm remembering this right, doesn't like the tempo of one part of it like speed up and sound crazy.
I don't know, maybe, but I love it.
The sound that he makes, that Morton makes to kick everything off, to let us know that we're about to get weird.
Yeah.
I hate it.
Do you hate it more than Sock It To Me?
Yeah, I hate it more than Suck It To Me.
Wow. No.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
No. Oh, that's surprising.
Here's what I say.
Okay.
Going back to like pre-middle eight,
Okay.
the accompaniment and the vocal melodies come off sounding like something that should have been released by Peter Pan Records for small children.
Wow.
It's totally out of place on this album. It wouldn't have worked on the prior album either. But after we have heard their more mature sound on side one, this just sort of sounds wrong to me on this record. I was enjoying it more than I thought I would.
Okay.
As I was playing this for the first time, doing my notes, I said, oh yeah, I remember I don't really like this one. It came on and I was like, well, this song is silly and it's very juvenile and this melody line is very simple. Maybe you were joking when you said that you were walking out on me. But you know what? It's kind of fun to a certain degree. It's still one of the worst Aha songs that I can think of. But then we got to that point where Morton makes that really weird sound, and I just threw up my hands and I was like, "Oh yeah, this is why
Oh my
I
goodness.
do not like this song."
Oh, that is so interesting. I am shocked to hear this. Again, this one is very much of its time, very mid 80s, but I appreciate it for, I think, doing a better job than October of lightening the mood or changing the mood between two heavier songs.
I don't think October is trying to lighten the mood.
Well, no, it's changing the mood. You know,
Well-
we talked before about that song being a breather. Somebody, a review or something, said it was a breather, and I didn't want a breather. You know, This one is another breather, really, because Weight of the Wind is a little heavier, and then the next song is going to be heavier yet. So this is this almost like comic relief between those two, and I don't mind that. I don't mind it at all. I think it's, I don't know, it's a good interlude to me.
It's songs like this that made any bad publicity or bad opinions on Aha, the kind of opinion that they wanted to get away from and try to be taken seriously as musicians. This is part of the reason why they would get labeled with that kind of childish because of songs like this.
Yeah,
Which I don't think there are many. Like I don't think that they have a ton of songs that are ridiculous like this. Like Blue Sky is very simple and very short, just like this, but I think Blue Sky is head and shoulders above this song in terms of quality. I think this is one of the worst things Aha has ever written or put to record. But having said that, I like it better than October.
Yeah.
I respect October way more than I respect this song.
Okay.
I think October is a way better song than this. But I would rather listen to this one, even though I would be gritting my teeth the whole way through. Just because...
But you wouldn't skip it like you actually skip October most of the time.
Oh, I'd skip the hell out of this song.
Oh, would you really?
Yeah.
Okay.
If you want to make me really happy, have Scoundrel Days be an 8-song album. And it would be perfect. I will give it a 50 record adapters right here and now if you tell me like this is an 8-song record.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, this is fascinating. No idea. Wow.
Oh man, October, I think I gave them I think I did give them credit for painting a mental picture with audio.
Okay.
You know, I didn't want to listen to it, but I respected what they were doing. That song showed songwriting maturity. This is a step backwards musically after things that we've heard on side one especially, and the lyric is like a novelty song lyric. For Morton Harkett, who gets up on stage and sings songs like Summer Moved On and I'm In, these beautiful songs, to sing the song, maybe it was over when you pushed me out the Land Rover driving at full speed. It's so silly.
How is this? Okay, I'm glad you asked this, because do you think the lyrics in this song are better or worse than the lyrics of We're Looking for the Whales?
They're worse. The lyrics in this song are worse.
How can you say that?
The lyrics in We're Looking for the Whales had that little bit of novelty that I didn't like, where it seemed to just be numbers. or once, came twice, came 3 times, then 2, then 1. There's no value to any of the words in this song. In Looking for the Whales, we did get things like restlessness is in our genes, time won't wear it off, born into this world with our eyes wide open, which I really like that. I mean, they don't change my world. It's not, I don't read that and say, wow, that is insightful, and they just opened my eyes. But it has the image that it could be something important that they're saying, even though it's not. Another thing, I hated that section of Looking for the Whales that talked about beached outside our door.
Yeah.
But still, the fact that the lyrics of that struck such a chord in me, like actually make me, every time I listen to it, think of something which disgusts me and makes me feel terrible. That's powerful writing, as opposed to maybe it was over when you chucked me out the rover at full speed, which I hate as well, but I hate it just because it's insipid. It doesn't make me feel anything. It makes me feel sad for them and slightly embarrassed that I've spent all my life singing the praises of this band.
Oh, wow. That's interesting. I mean, one of the things I saw was that line was compared. Well, yeah, the author of Down to the Tracks actually says that's almost Morrissey-esque in its writing. That's like a line that Morrissey would write. So does that change your opinion any?
Do you see any Morrissey CDs on my CD shelf?
Good point. All right, okay. Well, what's interesting is the very next thing he says is rendering it one of the band's most throwaway numbers. So
there you go.
So it's,
like seriously, I'm trying to think of a song that is more throwaway than this. I think even like song like Driftwood, the B-side of Take On Me, is a way better song than this.
Oh my goodness.
You'll End Up Crying is better than this. It's almost without value.
Oh my gosh. This is mind-blowing to me. I cannot believe this.
Now, I will tell you this. I got a kick out of the demo.
Okay.
And I really enjoyed listening to it.
It was crazy, and it's kind of funky, honestly.
It is. It sounds remarkably different. It was interesting.
I know. I kind of liked it, really. I could see where they were going to go with it. Like, this is something that they were trying out, this rock funk kind of path. I mean, they kind of came from that, obviously, rock background. But they didn't come back to that for another, 5 or 8 years. And it's kind of cool to hear them doing that in 1986. Interesting guitar in it. And yeah, it was kind of cool.
Yeah, we'll put a little sound in here somewhere so you can hear it, but it's still not a great song. It's weird and quirky, but I like this early version much, much more than I like the final version. It's very interesting, just as someone who likes to study the creative process. Wow, that sounds pretentious. As someone who likes to study the creative process, it's interesting to hear how much this one changed in the studio.
Yeah.
Because it's so different than that demo.
I know, and I wish I knew if they played this one very much live later on, and if they changed the sound then. The only example I could find is in 2010 when they did with the orchestra, they were doing the full album. And of course that does sound a little different, but not so different. Like, the difference between the Way to the Wind acoustic version in the 90s versus the album version. I don't even know if they probably didn't play this one live too much, I guess.
Yeah, so we have in that demo, we have that lyric that you mentioned earlier that was different about if I ever write words that hurt you.
Yeah.
You'll break this pen. They also have a very different thing in the chorus. I could be wrong, so wrong. I could be wrong, so wrong. But we could be right together. Like, they lose that idea completely in the main track, I think.
And I liked that lyric, but I did not like Morton's delivery of that. I thought that was very awkward.
It was a demo.
Yeah.
So he wasn't singing it the way that he would ultimately have sung it if it was on the real version. It still seemed awkwardly placed in the song.
Yeah.
The song didn't lend itself to a vocal right there. They would have had to do something to make it sound right.
Yeah, anyway.
Do you want to say anything else positive about this song? Even just reiterate something you already said before I give my little closing wrap up for the song and we move on to the next one?
I'll say that the last song was peppy but melancholy. This song is peppy and tongue-in-cheek, not melancholy at all.
Okay. So each side, like we said, each side here contains a song that's just painful for me to listen to. My problem with October surprisingly rests on the shoulders of Mr. Harkett. It's a rare misstep from him that turns me off there. Here the fault lies 97% with Mags, the songwriter. It's just not a good song. Well, it's not a terrible song, but it's a terrible match with everything else here on this album. They'll write worse songs than this down the line, but none of them are as poor a fit for the album that they appear on. I think earlier I said this is their worst song. It's not. It probably is their worst song, but it's not their song that I enjoy least. So 3% of the blame, though, I'm going to give to Morton for even trying to save this thing. You know, as the leader of the band, he should have suggested that this one get shelved. And it's been very interesting in the press for this new album. We have learned over the past few weeks, he now has that power. That Mags and Paul bring songs to the Aha recording sessions, and if Morton doesn't want to sing them for any reason, he doesn't sing them. And then those songs don't get recorded.
Yeah.
And I'm sure at the time of this, 1986, he wasn't that confident or that comfortable trying to exert that much authority. But in the meantime, I'm just picturing Paul sitting by himself in the corner on a chair laughing at Mags and Morton as they record this goofy song. And he's just thinking to himself how ridiculous this is.
Oh, wow.
So let's get away from Maybe.
Okay.
You have to fight this. I touch a new wave complex. You need retro action. Click the download button. Podcast.
80 of the 80s.
Podcast.
80 of the 80s.
Grab a guitar, play along. We're counting down the best songs. Listen to the experts. We're in the Throwback Network. Podcast.
80 of the 80s.
Podcast.
80 of the 80s. Turn me on at 80ofthe80s.com.
And before we talk about the last song, let's just go take a look. Like I said, I asked for some people to chime in on social media. We'll check one of the things right now. We'll check Facebook.
Okay.
So Terry Kemp, our friend Terry, what's going on, my man? He says...
Uh-oh.
People are either supposed to leave a one-sentence review or say hi.
Okay.
Which I'm sure people are just going to write hi because I said, or just say hi.
Yeah.
So that's what they'll do. But Terry Kemp says, I hope you don't cover the rest of their catalog at the same frequency. I'll be dead before you get halfway. All right. We're doing our best. Terry. All right. James Cook says, the boys move on from their cute Nordic pop to embrace complex themes with a harder rock edge.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, I like that too. Then that is true. They still kind of slip back into that cute pop at times, though, like we just mentioned.
Yes.
So thank you, James Cook. Hey, James Cook is the James from London who called on all the other episodes. We don't have a voicemail from him on this one.
Oh, boy.
All right, let's see. Peter Rogers, we got spoiled, and now we're missing out here on the last episode. Peter Rogers, I know Peter Rogers. He's a good guy. He says... Peter.
Oh, no.
Not a review, but wondering if you're managing to follow Boy George in the Australian desert in I'm a Celebrity. He seems to be itching for an argument, and yesterday moaned about everybody acting like they're in the Brady Bunch. Looking forward to the episode. Pete, I have seen on Twitter that he's on that show. I didn't know what show it was, but I saw he's doing some sort of reality show, and I have not watched it. And I'm not even sure. I guess maybe it's on YouTube somewhere.
I have no idea.
But I don't know. I have not seen it. And you're right. That is not a review, so shame on you. But I do like you, so I'm glad to see that you posted something. And Steve Coxon, he wrote a Growing Up album with a thumbs up.
Oh.
And it certainly is, wouldn't you say?
Yes, absolutely.
I like that. That
I do
was
too.
a good one-sentence review.
Yeah, very brief.
Mark Plunkett said... unequivocally avoids the difficult second album pothole and matures Aha's sound while holding on to their pop sensibilities.
Oh, I'm glad we got that review right after we talked about Maybe.
But Sarah?
Yes?
Mark also says then, love the show, by the way. With a happy face.
Thank you, Mark.
Thank you so much. Thanks for the review and thanks for the kind words. And Steve Fish, our buddy Steve, he says, no sophomore slump here. This is, maybe, Aha's second best album.
I love it. I love it. Perfect timing for the reference to that one as well.
So thanks to all you Facebook friends who did take a break from your Sunday NFL action or whatever you were doing on Sunday afternoon or evening if you're east of us on the globe and chiming in with your reviews and your greetings. We appreciate that.
That was a lot of fun.
So I'm going to close Facebook and we'll leave Twitter and Instagram open.
Okay.
Not sure how much action we're getting there, Sarah, but we'll see. And we have one last song to talk about. Things are about to get epic. Things are about to get dramatic. Things are about to get way more mellow than what we just heard. And this is the meteorological tune, Soft Rains of April.
Anybody home now? I am on the phone and I'd like to come back. Is it raining back home? I'm so alone. Just got up today and my thoughts are miles away with
All right, so this is a song that I have always loved, even back when I wasn't really playing this one too much because I had it on cassette. I really, really enjoyed and appreciated this song, which is why, at the end of the day, I've been hyping up this site, Nirvana. Almost Nirvana, but not quite, or something like that as their tagline. I've been giving them free publicity for 2 months now as we talk about this album. And at this last song, this late date, they are going to stab me in the back with quite possibly the worst thing I've ever seen written about this song. They say, closing off the album is the dated but harmless Soft Rains of April.
Oh, no.
I could not believe that they wrote that. They have been fans of this album pretty much to date, and then all of a sudden to turn on it with what I think is one of the best written songs on the record just shocked the heck out of me.
Oh, my goodness.
So Nirvana, you're dead to me.
Oh.
I used you as much as I needed to for this show, but I'm never going back. I'm never logging in again. Cancel my membership.
Wow. Did you have any other ones that you liked better? Any reviews you enjoyed better?
I wrote like a couple lines from Ned Raggett. Evidently,
Okay.
I liked what he said.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
Do you have that?
Yeah, I do. I have quite a little chunk of stuff.
Yeah, I have that too. Why don't you read it?
All right. Well, he says, Soft Rains of April, though, there's your album ender. As melodramatically perfect as Manhattan skyline and a bookend to the title track. Slow, majestic, a waltz of sorts, but one where one partner is miles away from the other and is so utterly desperate. Ah, here's a good line. Hell, Morrissey could have sung this, writing letters, counting down days and years. Everything wraps up with all the music cutting out right after Hartgett sings one last, the soft rains of April are over, leaving nothing but one repeated, purred over that could have ended a contemporary Prince album.
In fact, this came out a couple of years before Bat Dance, he wrote, which Bat Dance, if you recall, ended with Prince going, stop. And then this one ends with Morton saying, over.
Yeah.
Very, very different in tone, very different in mood. The simple fact that both songs end with a word spoken doesn't necessarily mean we need to compare those things, Ned. It's not appropriate.
I didn't even put that in my comments
Right, I
because I
noticed.
thought, I know you like Bat Dance, but like, no.
I like that whole Batman Prince album.
Yeah.
It's really good. Yeah, but I kept it in there just because I thought it was completely inappropriate. I wouldn't yell at Ned like I did Nirvana because Ned has been carrying the torch for this record. He's responsible for some great blogging
Right.
about Scoundrel Days, so kudos to him.
Yeah. This new review that I found from Pop Rescue also pretty well likes this song. They said the album closes with the dramatic drums and lurking bass synths of Soft Rains of April. At times, the vocal performance reminds me of Pulp's Jarvis Cocker, aided by some odd vocal performances and almost absent-minded lyrics. It's an unusual song, but wholly harmless. And then it's all done. That's a kind of a funny review. Harmless. Well, yeah, it's harmless. But I don't know. It's just a funny thing to say.
Nirvana said it was harmless.
What's that? What is that with this harmless? I don't know.
They're just shrugging it off. They're saying it's not terrible, but it's pretty much unnoticeable, which is, in my opinion,
That's
like 180 from the truth.
Right.
You mentioned in that review the percussion.
Yes.
So one of the things we're going to learn as we talk about it is that this song started life as a Bridges track.
It did.
It was one of those songs that Mags and Paul recorded many years earlier with
That's
Paul on the lead vocals.
That's right.
Do not let me sit here waiting. Answer the phone, dear, waiting. Is anybody home now? I am on the phone now, please. The soft rains of April are over.
And that song eventually came out in 2018 on their second album, which I
Yes.
probably can't pronounce.
I'm going to say Vaca not, but
There
it's
you
probably
go.
not right. But
The thing that I thought was noteworthy is that we had learned that the Bridges drummer, which is maybe pronounced Oystein Jevenord, played on this album.
okay.
We talked about that earlier.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, that's really cool. he played on that original Bridges version, and then he's playing on this version as well. But unfortunately, that's not the case. Their Bridges drummer played on Cry Wolf, I believe, and the drums on this one, live percussion, is played by the very capable Michael Sturgis.
Right, and he gave us the wonderful results in the first two songs on side one. So
we were singing his praises. He's a really good drummer.
Yeah.
But I just sort of thought like, since they did bring in the original drummer, they must have had him play on this song.
Yeah, no, they didn't do
But
that.
they did not. So
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. So one other positive comment about this song from Down to the Tracks, they start off their discussion of this song by saying one of Magnus and Paul's greatest compositions.
yes.
So I thought you would really like that.
I can't believe we have to go digging for positive reviews on The Soft Rains of April. I was sure that this was going to be an easy one, that everybody was going to love it.
Yeah, here are a few more comments on that song from the author of that book. It's the final version, as opposed to those demos that they did, with its ethereal New Age aesthetic that impresses the most. With its spectral synth sounds and harpsichord flourishes, it's a veritable masterclass in Baroque synth pop and a suitably chilling bookend to the album, embellished by a harrowing over as the song reaches an abrupt climax.
Yeah, kudos to him. He gets it. He understands a good song. He sees what's happening here. As I also wrote, they bookend the album with their most mature songwriting, the title track in this one. I'm glad to see someone appreciates this song, and I'm not out here on a rowboat by myself trying to convince everyone this song is great, because it is.
I agree. We're not going to have a crazy discussion like we just did. This one is a very good song.
This is a song that is so good that it will trick your mind when you are listening to this album. It will trick your mind into believing that side 2 of the album is as good as side 1 until you sit down and really think about it. But when you put this record on and you play side 2 and this is the last thing you hear, and then the needle goes back up and the record player shuts off, you're going to be like, oh my God, wow, that song was great. This whole album is amazing. It's so mature and such really strong songwriting because it's the last thing you heard. And then you're going to go back and, maybe you'll put it on and then get interrupted and you'll stop it, halfway through, maybe. And then you're going to be like, wait a second. Side 2 seems a little weaker than I remembered it being. And it's because this amazing song is the last thing you hear in side 2. It's well written, but it's also well programmed, having it be track 10 on the CD, track 5 on side 2.
Yeah.
While it stands out in your memory, it's a great finish to a record.
Oh,
and
yeah.
they have done that on both of their first 2 albums.
Yeah.
Here I Stand and Face the Rain is maybe even better. My opinion on that kind of changes from day to day. This is odd, but in truth, I do often sit around and think about which of these 2 songs, the closer from Hunting High and Low or the closer from Scoundrel Days, which do I like better? And I sometimes think one and sometimes think the other.
Okay, wow. Now, I said this seriously is probably one of the best album closers I can think of.
Okay.
I really find it to be a very strong ending. I love how it ends, the very, very end and over. But I also like just the song in general. It just finishes off this album in such a good way.
Totally agree. Like Manhattan Skyline, the last song on side 1, this is another song that I think of as being progressive pop, because there's just so much more to it than just verse, chorus, middle, 8 chorus. You get little sections of music that, don't sound like anything that we've heard yet in the song. For a while, there was this period in the early 2000s, Sarah, I was listening to a lot of prog rock.
That's right.
And it was simply because, well, it wasn't simply. One of the things that I liked about it was these songs that had different movements to them or different sections that just sounded different from, the other 5 or 6 sections of the song. And within like the 3 minutes and 30 seconds or 40 seconds of the song, you get a bunch of different things. Especially the thing I really like is he sings the verse and then he sings, just got up today and my thoughts are miles away with you. And the way he sings that is totally different than the way he sings what came before it.
That's true.
It's not like a second verse. It's a different melody that he's singing.
Yeah.
It sounds so nice. The melody line is nice. His vocals are nice. But it just comes out of nowhere, and then we never hear that again.
No.
He doesn't sing that part again.
No, you're right.
And I love these songs. I always talk about Paul McCartney. He's like the person that I think of as the pop person who writes songs that Band on the Run and We Got Married that have segments.
Oh, yeah.
So I use him more as an example than I do these prog rock bands. I love what they're doing, but they're compacting it into like such a short song. In my mind, this is a 5-minute song.
Yeah.
Like if you had asked me last week, how long is
The Soft Rains of April?
Soft Rains of April, I would have been like, at least 5 minutes. It's crazy that it's not, because they do so much in the time that they have.
Right. Yeah, you're right. They use that time really, really well to make a lot of things happen and do it in a very effective way. It's not just, oh, let's just throw this in here.
Oh, no.
It's like very, very well constructed. And like you said, compact. I like that word. Very efficient.
And you mentioned in your review that it was a waltz where the one dancer is like miles away, thousands of miles away from the other person or something like that. So in the Let's Make Nick Oswald Proud department, I noticed that this song is mainly a 3/4 time waltz, but that there are very brief sections of it that just switch to 4/4 time.
That's right.
I was sitting here listening to it and I was counting it in my head just because, like, the last drum hit of a measure on this song, at least in the beginning, is very power. It's much more powerful than the other drums.
Very
like
pronounced.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah.
So I was just counting it because I had noticed that, and I was counting 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, and then all of a sudden my counting didn't make any sense, and I was like, "What?" So I hit rewind, and it goes 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and I was like, "Oh my God, it's going crazy!" And I noticed it myself.
Yeah, that was very proud of you when that happened.
I called you downstairs.
Yeah, you're like, hey, and I'm like, yeah.
I was like, "Listen to this," and I played it for you.
I knew of that. But
I wanted
I'm glad
to
you
just point
figured
out
it
to
out.
our friend Nick that I figured that out myself.
Yes, he did. It was very, very cool.
Nick, here, I don't know if you can hear this, but that's me patting myself on the back.
I see it happening. Oh, this song is a lot more complex. Certainly, way complex than what we just heard. Oh my gosh! And it's heavier, but it's not too heavy. You know, it has a lot more heft, and it has a more serious, ominous, almost a sinister kind of sound to it. I mean, when he's singing the phrase, "The soft rains of April are over," if you just take that phrase out, not with any music to it, that should convey a positive feeling, right? You know, hey, it stopped raining.
Oh, in the spring, everything's going to bloom. It's
Yeah,
going to be colorful and bright.
But the way the music is put in there and the way he's singing it, it makes it sound like maybe that's not a good thing. Like, I don't know, are they going to go through a drought perhaps? I'm not sure. But it's just an interesting vibe that we get from the music in this, that one synth sound. I mean, it really does sound like a ghost. Like a,
Yes,
yeah.
Yep, right. Everyone, I hope you enjoyed our duet there on the synth sound.
I mean, it's interesting, isn't it? It's a lot scarier of a song than you might think that it would be.
Based on the name, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very atmospheric. Melody really makes it stand out, and it is sort of, it's not creepy, but it is. Oh man, it's so hard to think of the word. It's
not eerie. It just has this kind of otherworldly feel. I think ethereal was mentioned in one of the reviews.
Okay. Yeah, that works well.
Ethereal new age aesthetic. Yeah. Spectral synth sounds. Yeah. I think those are the good words to describe what we're hearing here. But there are some light moments. You know, I think that little harpsichord type sound, we're getting that again. And that kind of brings up the atmosphere a bit, you know, lifts it up a little bit. That's why I would say it's not too heavy. You know, they don't get themselves bogged down too much, but it's a really nice mix, I think, of more gravitas and also some kind of lighter pieces so that you're not just, by the end.
Now, one of the things I was surprised about, because of the fact that I've loved this song for so much time, such a big part of my life, I was surprised when I actually sat down and looked at the lyrics. The lyrics are not as impressive as the music in this song, in my opinion. They're a great step up from the lyrics we got in the last song, but they're not fantastic. Most of the atmosphere and the effective
the emotion
is coming to you from the music.
Yeah.
So just continuing some of the stuff that we saw earlier on the album, we get a few lines that are just sort of the metaphor of pop success is like prison time. And, you know, this is because of 24-year-old Paul just going through his angst from being away from his girlfriend. This is a commentary on pop isolation. You know, anybody home now? I am on the phone now. I'd like to go back. Is it raining at home? I'm so alone. So, you know, he's halfway around the world touring and he's, woe is me, woe is me. Which I didn't go into any deeper than that because we've talked about it already and it's not especially interesting. The one thing I did look up is the line, "The ferry crossed the water to Dover, over." So I did find out that there was a prison for a few years at Langton Cliffs, Dover.
Okay.
It was called Dover Prison. And it was open from, this is the thing, I'm not sure that this is really, it seems like a very weird bit of information to know that there was a prison there from 1885 to 1896. So it was only open for 11 years, and it was for like first-time convicted offenders. I guess you had a really nice view and you weren't too bad. It was your first time doing something bad, so you got to go to this prison. Because you get a lot of people who say that this song is sort of a follow-up to I've Been Losing You, where the narrator in I've Been Losing You has done something with the gun.
Right.
He's done something bad.
Yeah.
And now here at the end of the album, he's being punished for whatever he did.
Uh-huh.
And you see that, you know, a number of fans of the record write about that. So I guess there is this thought that people have thought that this is him going to jail. I'm not sure if everybody in the world knew, other than me, that there was a jail in Dover, but
No.
it turns out that there is, or there was.
Well, when he said to Dover over, I thought that meant that he was in France, because there's a ferry that goes from Dover to Calais, France, and I thought he was in France.
Oh, okay, that makes more sense.
But I thought of that idea too, about this being kind of a follow-up even to Scoundrel Days, perhaps, because in Scoundrel Days, he's trying to escape something. At the end, he thinks he makes it, and then maybe he actually gets caught. But certainly in I've Been Losing You, it sounds like a crime has been committed. Maybe this is a reference to the ramifications of that. What's funny is, for all the good things that the author of Down to the Tracks said about this song, he said that these lyrics are somewhat opaque. Mm-hmm. And I thought, to me, these have more interpretations, or you can make more out of them than some of the other ones that we've read. I thought these were a little bit more straightforward, I guess, just because there's things you can think about them that are possible. Does that make them more opaque because there are more choices? To me, if you can actually come up with an idea for it,
Right.
that means it's good.
Opaque is like a brick wall.
Yeah, like, I don't know what he's trying to say here. Just like, we're looking for the whales. Like, what do you mean? Are you really looking for whales? Yeah, I don't know. I like these lyrics. To me, it sounds like someone who's imprisoned and lonely and trying to keep in touch with people back home. So yeah, there's definitely the on tour and away from your loved ones kind of aspect, but we could also perhaps tie it to a story being told by the songs in the album.
Right. And I mean, we get the prison idea from, they gave me 4 years, 3 more to go.
Exactly.
So that's like a prison sentence.
Yeah, exactly.
And, I mean, I think that this can be taken a couple ways, and I would not say that it's opaque. I would say it's not clear which way we're supposed to take it. But
right.
It's not opaque. It gives you a number of interpretations.
Yeah. But what I want to really talk about with the lyrics is the title.
All right.
And what I found out this year about the title, or what I don't know if I found out about it, but here's the thing. On May 1st of this year, my Peanuts desk calendar had a little cartoon, a little 4-panel strip, as it always does. And it had Linus and Charlie Brown walking. And Linus says in the first panel, "The soft rains of April are over." And I was, what? And then the next panel, he says, "The warm sun of May favors the earth." And I thought, this sounds like something. Wow, what is this? And then the next panel is, he says, "Everything is growing." And then the final panel is Snoopy lying on his doghouse with a really large flower. It's up to the height of him on the doghouse. And he says, "Who planted this flower?" I forget exactly what he says. But I read those first lines. Linus says, "The soft rains of April are over." He says the exact first lines of this song. That was a strip that was printed in 1972, May 1st, 1972. So now my question is, did Paul read that back in the day and remember that for many, many years, say 8 years, I guess, because they wrote the song probably around 1980 or so, and put that in this song? Is that where this came from? Because I could not find any reference that this came from anything other than Charles Schulz's mind. I looked for this as another poem. It sounds like it should be a poem.
Right, because Linus is always the one who knows the literary references.
Right.
He can, in the Christmas special, he can go out and quote the Bible.
Yeah.
He's the one who always knows the
Yeah.
poems and
Right.
literature. So it does seem like something that would have been, him quoting, but you didn't find anything.
No, I really looked. I looked everywhere, and I went through pages and pages of Google searches for those two lines, and all I could ever find was references to the Aha song or the Peanuts cartoon.
Wow, that's so wild.
I know. That is so crazy. And then it gets even weirder, because when I was doing that search, the one result that came up was on the Charles M. Schulz Museum Facebook page, where they shared that cartoon back in May of 2019. And so, of course, on Facebook, people make comments about things, whatever. Well, one of the comments made reference to the Aha song and the album. And it says, slightly off topic, but bear with me. Norwegian pop band Aha had a song on their 1986 album Scoundrel Days called Soft Rains of April, in which the first line of the song is exactly what Linus says here. The soft rains of April are over. Probably a coincidence. Or could the songwriter have seen this cartoon and found that line inspired him to write a song? So the author of that is someone from England named Mark Saunders. I'm like, what? Mark Saunders.
A name we have mentioned in the past on some of our Erasure episodes. I know we talked about him on the Crackers International episodes.
He's produced a ton of music. You know, he's pretty famous in this world of music. And I don't know if it's actually him. I mean, it's a common name, Mark Saunders. It's, like Robert Smith. But I was like, this is just getting creepy. This is just so weird. How his words colliding.
His post is from 3 years ago.
Yeah.
His age is pretty close that he could have been. I imagine that the Erasure work was probably some of his earliest work.
No, I think the first thing he did was in 1982.
Well, I think he finished secondary school in like 81.
Oh, okay.
This Mark Saunders, so he would have had to have gotten
like a job right away.
Okay. So maybe it's not him. Even though his message is from 3 years ago, I did write and say like, hey, is this the Mark Saunders who worked with Erasure? And did some other mixing, and I did that yesterday. He didn't write back. Okay. But like I said, it's a 3-year-old.
I mean, and it is very, I don't know if that Mark Saunders would be following the Charles M. Schultz Museum Facebook page. I don't know. But it was just so weird.
I was hoping to bust the mystery wide open by the time we recorded this, but it's not to be, I guess.
We know that Paul is well read. He reads all kinds of novels and everything. And to think that he might have gotten the inspiration for a song from a Peanuts cartoon, that just blows my mind. I kind of love it, really. It's kind of fun.
It's a Paul Maggs and Charles Schultz co-write.
Yeah, really.
So what do you think about the way the album ends?
Oh, it is fantastic. I mean, this song in general, like I said, it's just a really good album closer. I love how it ends. I can't say enough good things about it.
Mm-hmm. Yep, great tune to end on, like I said. One of the strongest tracks on the record, an awesome closing song. Specifically, the end of the song, really cool the way they end it.
I agree.
With the music dropping out and Morton's voice. Over. His voice has, once again, here at the end, it has some of that vibrato to it that I heard in the very first song, which, if you recall, back in Scoundrel Days, I heard it and mentioned that he sounded to me sort of like Brian Ferry and early Roxy music.
Yeah.
It's not that heavy here at the end of this one, but it's there. Regardless of how good a-ha's songwriting is, and it is really, really good, the thing that most people walk away from a-ha thinking is, man, how good is that guy's voice?
Oh, yeah.
Because of that, why not make it the last thing they hear on this record?
Yeah.
So I think that was a really good idea.
I agree.
To end the song like that. Now, the 2010 bonus disc doesn't have a demo version of this song. Here on the reissued CD, we get a guitar version, which I really liked. I enjoyed. I didn't like it nearly as much as the real version.
Okay.
But I thought that it was really good. I liked the sound of it, but I think that they made the right decision to go with the album version.
Soft rains of April are over. The soft rains of April are over.
All the production and the drums really give it an epic sound. But it was an interesting way to hear the song done, this guitar version. You seem to not like it as much as I did.
I didn't like it as much. It's in a higher key, and to me it sounds like it's a little bit harder for Morton to sing. It's okay. It's not great. I actually do like the piano version better, which was a download-only track from the deluxe 2010 version.
Okay. The soft rains of April are over. The soft rains of April are over.
I think that is a beautiful version, and it is my favorite non-album version of the song.
Yeah, that was really good too. I didn't even know about it. I'm not sure where you found it, but I did listen to it. It's a shame it's not on the disc. Not all that long. They probably could have squeezed it in there. As much as I like the guitar version, I like the piano version even better.
Yeah, the guitar version was fine. It just sounds a little, harsher to my ear, and I really like the piano version. I laughed when I heard the Bridges version because I did listen to that, like the very first version with Paul singing, and it just cracks me up how much they are trying desperately to sound like the Doors. It is just very bemusing to me. Like this, yeah, he is totally trying to sound like Jim Morrison here. And okay, fine. But I'm really glad that the song evolved to where it did for this album because I much prefer that version.
Yeah, this is an amazing song. I've already said everything. I'm not going to repeat myself a third time how great the song is. Great tune.
Okay.
All right, so we have finished the discussion on the album. We have some extra credit.
We do.
Let's just go back to social media, see what people have said. I do notice that here on Facebook, 2 people have chimed in since we last left Facebook, so we'll see what they say. Martin McGarry, our friend Martin.
Yeah.
He said, almost a perfect side 1. Yep, October isn't quite as good, but it's still intriguing. Sadly, second side not up to the same standard. And Eric Miller says hi.
Okay. Well, you said either review or hi, so hi.
Yep. What's going on, Eric Miller? I haven't seen you for a little while. I was getting used to seeing him like every weekend. It seemed like I haven't seen him this weekend. So
Yeah, it's kind of weird.
It is weird. All right, so let's see. We'll go over to Instagram. Did anyone post there?
Okay.
On Instagram, let's see. Vegeduck says, 1 sentence review. Sadly, 4 10 out of 10 songs on one side of an album are not enough to make a 10 out of 10 album.
Oh.
So Vegeduck is not loving the whole package overall.
Okay.
I'm going to assume that the 4 10 out of 10 songs on side 1 are what I consider to be the 4 10.
Okay.
He's excluding October. He or she. He, as I click on the picture. And let's see. Lucas Von Gretsch says, looking forward to the next discussion of Scoundrel Days.
Okay.
I hope that you will enjoy it when you're hearing it. You should have put a review. I'd like to know what you think about the record. And Jozo, J0Z0. Jozo says, hello, with a smiley face. So hello right back at you.
Hello.
Thanks for chiming in.
Hello.
And over on Twitter, people liked it. All right, let's see. All right, the amazing John Lamoureux from The Hustle says, hi.
Hi, John.
Hi, John Lamoureux.
Hi, John Lamoureux.
Okay, Dusan Slavic. There's lots of accent marks, so I'm probably not saying this right, so I apologize. Dusan Slavic says, definitely Aha's best album. Classic.
Wow. Okay.
And I don't want to give too much away because we're doing our final evaluation in a few minutes, but you're right. Sly Dog Music Cast, Mr. Alex Alt, he says, hi.
Hi.
Can you tell it's the podcasters that are taking advantage of my sentence to do a cheap joke? You know, I never should have said, or just say hi, because it's all the podcasters that are doing it. Eric Miller, John Lamoureux, Alex Alt.
Come on,
guys. How do you carry your own show if you can't even come up with a witty sentence?
Yeah.
All right, let's see. David says, easily Aha's best album, with Morton Harkett's soaring vocals, easily the match of Scott Walker, set against an epic, brooding musical landscape interspersed with moments of light baccarat pop. Nothing sounds more like Norway's mountains and fjords in musical form.
Wow, I like that.
You know, maybe
was that really one sentence?
Well, it's a run-on sentence. It's a run-on sentence that makes it one.
All right.
Maybe True North sounds a little bit more like that, but I agree with what he's saying. And we just mentioned him, Mr. Nick Oswald.
Hey, Nick.
Mr. Nick Oswald says, hello. Excited to hear your thoughts on the album's final tracks.
Oh, good.
A lot of people said the day would never come.
Right. It's been a mystery. Will they ever finish this album?
So the day has come. It's being recorded. Now it's got to be edited. That's the kicker, guys.
Indeed.
All right. So that is everyone online who was kind enough to chime in. So thanks for doing that. It was kind of fun.
Yeah, that was neat.
It was cool to read them out, especially since we didn't have a voicemail this episode.
Yeah. It was still us talking, but at least we were quoting other people.
Right. All right. So we have an extra credit question.
We do.
So what was that question, Sarah?
Did you know that there was a book written with the album title in the book title?
I did not know that.
Well, because I have this wonderful book called Down to the Tracks, I was made aware of that because it's a little section at the end of this chapter. So it talks about the fact that there's a book by a Norwegian author, what a surprise, Paul Christensen, whose English translation of his book was titled The Scoundrel Days of Hobo Highbrow.
I love the name Hobo Highbrow.
I know.
It's awesome.
Yeah, that's the character in the book. This book came out in 2002. The original title, when translated from Norwegian to English, is Dreaming of Greatness. But when the book was translated to English, the translator suggested to the author that he change the title to kind of play up the Aha theme. The book isn't centered around Aha, but there are occasional references to their history, as well as the use of some other song titles like Blue Sky and Driftwood. both of which we have mentioned in this episode. So Paul Christensen says he was a fan of AHA from the early days, but even as a Norwegian, he says it wasn't cool for him to be a fan of them back in the 80s and 90s, which I found that was really interesting. You know, he's from their home country, but he was a Norwegian writer, and I guess they're supposed to be more serious. I don't know.
Yeah.
He never really collected a lot of stuff about them, never went to a concert. But when he was ready to write this book, which is the second book about this character, Hobo Highbrow, AHA had just reformed after their break in the 90s, and he thought it would be kind of a fun twist to add Paul Mokhtar Savoy to the book. The inspiration came behind a real-life experience Paul, the author, had years ago spotting Paul and Lauren, and I guess that really made an impression on him, and he kind of built on that and embellished it in this book.
I took a synopsis of it from Amazon.
Okay.
Just because I was curious to what the book was about. It's not really an extensive synopsis, but it says, this is a work of fiction about a copy editor for a Norwegian newspaper author who has ambitions of becoming a popular novelist. Poor Hobo takes a few wrong turns, becoming caught up in his dreams of greatness, fueled by a chance encounter with one of the AHA band members before he is saved by the bell, so to speak. A humorous and charming portrayal of what can go wrong when a fan over-identifies with someone he admires and hopes to emulate. So that was kind of not really too clear, really, what it's about. So I took just a few sentences from, there was one review on Amazon for the English version of this by Corinne Edwards, and that reviewer said, Hobo is an incredibly funny character. He's quirky, bordering on neurotic, and has so many, quote, insightful, yes, I mean that sarcastically, thoughts about life. So already I kind of like this character.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like this would be a funny book. She says he's entirely self-centered and yet is under the impression that everything he does is for the common good. While you can tell that much of his writing is nonsensical drivel, he truly believes himself to be an authentic and creative author. He is curiously in love with the dictionary, the game Scrabble, and the band AHA, whom he uses as a muse and whose lyrics are like a scriptural guide to life.
Oh, wow. It's kind of like a super fan.
Hey, right. Yeah. Did you happen to see the cover of the American version?
That will be in the show notes for sure. Yeah, the English translation. It's hilarious. It's really well done. It's like an old icon portrait of Paul Mokhtar Savoy as, just this religious icon, basically.
Where he's holding what you think would be like a Bible or something.
Yeah.
Is it actually an iPod? Is that why it has the circle on it?
Oh, maybe, yeah.
I was trying to figure that out because I've never owned an iPod.
That might make sense.
I'm not an Apple guy. I've gone out of my way to get other brands of MP3 players.
I think the iPod existed in 2002, so.
I think so, because when did I have I had the Rio.
Yeah. Well, did you have the Zune first?
No, I wasn't going to reveal to everyone that I owned a Zune, Sarah.
Okay.
That makes me a target of ridicule.
Okay.
But before I had that Zune, I bought the Rio. Man, what was it called? I loved it. It was actually a really good MP3 player.
Yeah. Well, we still have it.
I still have it, but I can't think of what it was called. I did see a thing on aha.com. They had an interview with him, with the author. And they asked him, where does the idea come from to use Paul as a character for your novel? And he said, there is no simple answer. Part of the reason lies in my own private sphere of interests, and partly in the book's main theme, mainly the balance between big dreams and earthly living. In the book, Paul is elevated to some kind of icon for Hobo, but on the other hand, Paul is a normal person with a wife and kid, yet with a life outside of the usual. Paul was the man behind the lyrics and melodies in AHA's first phase, a man with obvious literary qualities and interests, which makes him especially interesting.
I like it.
I have so many books to read.
Yeah.
Because I used to read, I remember reading 25 books a year. Because I did something on like goodreads.com. I kept track of my books for a year. Now with the podcast, I read about 3 books a year. So I have this growing stack of things I've got to read. And so I would like to read this, but I don't know if I want to add it to the stack or not, because I'll never get to it.
I know. It does sound interesting. And speaking of reading the books, the publisher did send Paul Mokhtar Savoy a copy of this book beforehand, ensure that Paul didn't have a problem with it. Paul decided to have Lauren read it first because he was a little nervous about what he might discover, and he thought, well, maybe she could break it to him gently, if she found some questionable content or crazy stuff in it. However, they sent the original Norwegian version to him because, well, he's Norwegian, and her Norwegian wasn't that great at the time. She had a little trouble translating some of it, so he ended up reading it himself. But thankfully for the author, Paul did find it to be very funny and charming. So he got a kick out of it and enjoyed the character and enjoyed the book. So that was good to hear.
So in case you are interested, once again, that was called The Scoundrel Days of Hobo Highbrow by Paul H. Christensen.
That's right.
And it's easy to get as a digital book, I know.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if you can easily get a real copy or not, but if you want to hunt that down, if you're an AHA fan.
You don't have to go hunting high and low. It should be easy to find.
Very good, yep. And let us know what you think. We would be curious to hear it.
Yeah, because we may never get to read it ourselves.
Yeah. So, all right, we are up to the end, Sarah. This is the point where we have to, as we always have for over 6 years now, we
Yeah.
have to evaluate a record, and we each assign it between 1 and 50 record adapters. And then we add them together to give it a score out of 100, sort of a percentage, but it's record adapters. Those little yellow things that you used to have to put in the hole of your 45 record here in the U.S. so they would work on your turntable. It's also the main feature in our logo of our podcast. You may have seen that if you're listening.
Perhaps.
So we're going to lay it on the line. We're going to tell you what we think. Pass judgment on Scoundrel Days.
We are.
Sarah, do you want to go first or do you want to go second?
I'll go first. It had been so long since I had written a final review for an album. I was really out of practice. It took me, quite a bit of work to come up with this. And again, because we've talked about this over so many months, I had to really go back and think about what I'd said, reevaluate, just let it simmer. I went back to my notes and discussion from the first episode about how this album was supposed to be an intentional departure for the band from the sound of the first album. They were trying to be taken more seriously as artists. And for the first half of the album, there is definitely a sound to the songs that it's different from what we hear on Hunting High and Low. But flipping the record, we find more connections to the sound of the first album. It's not entirely sounding like the first album. And I don't know if that's because they didn't have the time to reimagine the whole second side in the new way, or if they were encouraged by the producer or perhaps more the record label to remain more true to the sounds on that first album. It's hard to say. I will say the end result is an album that feels a little more inconsistent. Having said that, it's not as inconsistent as their next album, Stay on These Roads. That one was really all over the map. We talked about that a few years ago, and I definitely think that one is suffering more of an identity crisis than this one. On both sides of Scoundrel Days, we find songs that convey a sense of atmosphere and that epic melancholy that Magna has said is a trademark of the band. So there's still things bringing it together on both sides. The first 3 songs on this album are monumentally good. They provide such a strong foundation to the album. I've come around to liking Manhattan Skyline more than I used to. Once I came up with the idea of that external calm versus internal torment that's representing the different musical sections of the song, that was always kind of troublesome for me to process and get behind. Once I came up with that idea, I'm like, okay, I get this better. I'm more comfortable with this song. But I actually like every song. You're gonna just go crazy when you hear this. I like every song on the second side more than Manhattan Skyline.
Oh my God.
I really do. Not by a whole lot, really, but enough to mention. I would rather hear Baby Maybe than Manhattan Skyline. That I know that's crazy.
Shame on you.
Well, I can understand and appreciate that people love the song October. I get what they're doing there. I understand that. I just can't get into it myself. And to me, instead of it serving as relief between dramatic songs, to me, it just changes the mood too much. And in a way I don't understand or I don't enjoy. Unlike what happens with Maybe. I don't mind that shift. I know you really don't like it, but to me, it's okay. So what does this mean for my rating out of 50 record adapters? I went through and I ranked each song individually. When I looked at the total score, I still wasn't sure I was comfortable with that worked out to. So then I let that sit a while. And then today I added a couple more points to the score, pretty much based out of emotion and sentimentality, which I'm not real keen on doing most of the time. I kind of like tabulating things and having a...
Yeah, you're very cold and clinical as a person.
Yes.
So I'm surprised that you would go back and just go based on emotion.
When it when it comes to rating and stuff, giving these final numbers, I really do tend to lean on the numbers more than my emotions because that's just what I do.
You're always afraid someone's going to say to you, show your work for this.
Yeah.
Prove to us why you end up at 44.
Right. If I had to show my work for this, they're going to say, well, that's not how that worked out. But what I'm comfortable doing right now is giving Scoundrel Days a rating of 37 out of 50.
37? Wow. I had no clue it was going to be that low. I'm shocked.
I thought you would be shocked.
I am shocked. And that's after your emotions and your love of the record from your youth prompted you to add points to it today?
Yeah.
Holy cow. Oh my gosh. Wow. All right.
You don't even know what to say.
I don't know what to
You're
say.
dumbfounded.
Wow. I scribbled little notes of things to
But now
say
you-
based on your write-up. And
Now you're just going to focus on that last thing.
I'm not going to
37
focus on anything because I'm unable to focus based on what I heard.
37. Yeah,
Wow.
I know. That's terrible, isn't it?
It's your opinion. I'll assume you're going to be able to sleep with that. This is going on your permanent record.
Yeah, I know.
All right. Wow. As soon as I move on, Sarah, yours is set in stone.
Cold as stone.
All right. Sarah gave it a 37, folks. So the website backseatmafia.com, who I quoted a number of times over this retrospective, they say there's a lot wrong with this album. It is too spangly, too synth-driven, too tinny, and yet everyone I've ever played it to has loved it. It's intense and driven. It deals with big issues and has some spectacular vocals to draw it all together. Better was to come from a-ha, but this laid the groundwork for their musical adulthood. And for many, many years, I would have agreed with that last sentence. Better was to come from a-ha. But as I have indicated, it's because I just didn't get as much exposure to this record. I had the other 4 albums from those early 5 classic a-ha albums. I had those on newfangled compact discs, and this one was on a dirty old cassette tape, and it was way more fun to play CDs back in that time. But breaking this out and listening to it extensively for this podcast has opened my eyes, my ears, and my mind to the fact that this is an incredibly strong record. It may have a few songs that I don't like, but it also has what I think are some of the very best songs of the 1980s on it. The first 3 tracks here are mammoth. Pure brilliance, covering everything from moody art pop to pristine synth pop to angsty 80s pop rock. It's almost breathtaking to hear them move from song to song, strength to strength, growing their sound into more of what they want it to be in 1986. And you know what? You mentioned Stay on These Roads. I think that the songwriting trend continued onto the next album, onto Stay on These Roads, but the pressure from the label to be more pin-up pop and the production that time around let them down. I think at the heart of it, songs like Stay on These Roads, Out of Blue Comes Green, and There's Never a Forever Thing could have been more epic and more mature like some of the songs here on Scoundrel Days. Ultimately, I think only one of those songs made it to vinyl in a state that rivals what we're hearing on this album. At that point, in the era of Stay on These Roads, they just had too many outside forces working against them, and that's why ultimately that album doesn't sound as grown up as what we're talking about here today. But we have read a number of critics who say that this is when they revealed to the world that they were more than just the pinups behind Take On Me. And I've never felt that way because I don't feel dirty or I don't feel ashamed to admit my love of pop and my love of Take On Me. I think it's an amazing song to this day. If you can listen to Hunting High and Low and not be impressed by the songwriting behind the title track, Sun Always Shines on TV, or Here I Stand and Face the Rain, then you're just being stubborn and ridiculous. Those songs are amazing and definitely not the work of mere pinup models. So, I don't listen to this and hear silly pop boys blossoming into serious rock men. I hear very talented writers and performers just evolving. If you play a lot of basketball, your style of playing will change and you're going to get better. And that's what's happening here. Their experience and their natural interests have combined to change their sound a bit, and they have a bit more swagger based on the confidence they rightfully have earned based on past successes. We've talked about the fact that I don't like 2 of the songs here. But I have to admit that those 2 songs don't much impact my opinion on the album overall. On a weaker record by a different group, I might say, well, I don't like 20% of the material, so I can't go higher than an 80% overall. But that's not the case here. It's easy to ignore a few of these missteps based on the strength of the entire collection of songs. So as I said, this is an album that never had a chance to earn my full appreciation all those years ago. And after listening to it carefully for a few months, I asked myself, how many a-ha albums would I rank above this one now? And I was quite surprised to realize that there is only one. This is now my second favorite a-ha album, which is pretty mind-blowing to me, but it's true. I still absolutely love Minor Earth, Major Sky, Hunting High and Low, Foot of the Mountain, and Stay on These Roads, but I now love Scoundrel Days more. It may have taken me 36 years to come around, but that's just proof that there's still time to get into the swing of things. 48 out of 50 record adapters.
Wow.
48, Sarah.
Yeah.
So So let me go to my little notepad here. 37 plus 48. Oh my God, that's just wrong. We as a podcast are giving Aha Scoundrel Days, one of the best albums of the 1980s, an 85%.
Yeah.
You've rendered yourself speechless, Sarah.
I have.
When faced with the mathematics of what you have done.
Yeah, I know. I'm the worst. Your idea of thinking which ones do you like more than this one, that was very revealing. That was really interesting. Mm-hmm. And I'm not sure I could answer the question the same way. So I think, just off the top of my head, I'm still going to stick with what I have. But
all right.
Yeah.
Hey, everyone respects you for sticking to your guns, Sarah.
Do they?
Yep.
I'm definitely not going to change right now on the fly just because you're looking at me like dumbfounded.
Okay.
I'm not. That would be a silly thing to do.
All right, guys. We are ending episode 149 of our podcast in the most awkward way we've ever ended a podcast. We may be divorced by episode 150.
No!
If you never see episode 150, it's because we just decided to...
Our differences were too strong.
What irreconcilable differences.
Yeah.
We celebrated the holiday season by going our separate ways after all this time. We got together in 1989 and we wrapped things up in 2022 after discussing Scoundrel Days.
Oh boy.
So
it's been a good run.
It has been a good run. And for now, you can follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, where we are doing our best to put out material to catch your attention and spark conversation about this 80s music that we love. Join us there now before Twitter self-destructs and before we just vanish and no one ever hears from us again. Sarah, anything else you want to say off of our little sheet here?
If you'd like to, we'd really love a review off of Apple Podcasts. A rating is wonderful, but a review is even better because we will read that on the air and we will appreciate it very much. It does help our standing in the podcast universe.
That's right. We don't have any new reviews this time. We did get a new rating. We got a 1-star rating. So that was great. It's fine.
That didn't help us too much, but hey.
It may not have helped us, but it didn't really hurt us.
Yeah.
So that's fine. Somebody doesn't like us. They didn't say why, but
yeah.
I'm curious why. But
it's very interesting, but that's
fine.
Okay.
Maybe they saw your notes. Maybe they saw your final evaluation before it was revealed.
I'm sure we're going to get a lot of comments about this. So if you want to do that in a voicemail, you could do that at 724-490-8324. Or if you live anywhere in the world, you can go to speakpipe.com/permrecordpod and suck it to me, as Morton said. give me grief for my rating, or praise to Brian for his rating, or anything else you'd like to share with us. We'd love to hear from you.
Yeah, no one saw that coming. Even a couple people said yesterday on Facebook they knew because of what I said about October that I wasn't going to give it a high grade. Someone predicted I was going to give it an 80. Look what happened.
Yeah.
Wow.
Plot twist.
Gave it a 96% if you were to change my grade to a percentage. So you can email us at permrecordpodcast@gmail.com. And finally, with the holidays coming up, if there's somebody in your life who loves Brian and Sarah more than they can even express in words, we have a little Redbubble shop where we have a couple things like shirts and things like that have our podcast logo, and we take the money from that and invest it back into the podcast. And we'd appreciate any activity there. Just go check it out. Even you don't have to get anything. Check it out. See what we have going on.
Yeah.
Because some really talented artists have given their time and talent to create nice artwork for us. So it looks really cool, I think.
It does.
We appreciate you checking out our long incoming episode, wrapping up Scoundrel Days. Like I said, this is episode 149. Episode 150 is next, and we're still trying to figure out what it's going to be exactly. Normally,
a farewell episode.
might be our goodbye. Sometimes we use the special anniversary episodes like 100 and 150 to talk about some of the Depeche Mode things we want to talk about that won't fall into place with the albums, like Depeche Mode B-sides and things like that. But we always do a Christmas-related episode in December, so maybe 150 would be Christmas. I don't know. I don't know what to do.
The possibilities are endless. They really are.
So we will see what happens, and we'll see you next time. Let us know what you think about this episode, what you think about Sarah's obscene ranking of Scoundrel Days, and we'll talk to you next time.
All right. Bye.
Shoulders, I know
Are you still here?
I am still here.
Okay, so right now, I'm everybody's favorite. For the first time ever in the history of the podcast, I'm everyone's favorite host. So I just wanted to bring that up.
Yes.
But I also meant to say this in the episode, and I forgot. A couple days ago, I asked people to give me their rankings.
Okay.
Out of 1 to 100 record adapters.
Yeah.
And we had a number of people who shared their rankings with us. And I just averaged them together. You gave it a 37 out of 50, which translates to a 74. The average ranking of our listenership, our friends that download the show, they gave it a 92. 92. That's how out of touch you are, Sarah, with our friends.
Yeah, that doesn't sound too good, does it? No.
Your only hope is that it takes me forever to edit this.
Yeah.
And when it comes out, we're smack in the Christmas season, and everyone is, watching Christmas movies, watching It's a Wonderful Life, and they're like filled with love of their fellow man. And people are going to be like, "Oh, that's Sarah. Well, we may disagree on this, but I love that kid."
I do love this album, but I don't know. I've done it wrong, I guess.
You got to stand by it, Sarah.
I am. I'm going to stand by it.
All right, well, we're getting out of here. I think episode 150, we said we didn't know what it was going to be.
Yeah.
We'll probably review Black Celebration. You can give it a 68%, and then we'll go on our Christmas break. Okay.
Bye.
All right, so this is late breaking news. Couldn't put this in the episode because it happened after it was recorded, and I'm just sneaking in here at the very end to share this with all of you because it's really funny. So our friend, who we always call Fragile Gods, his name is Frederick France, but he records music under the name Fragile Gods. You can follow him on YouTube or you can follow him on Spotify. Lots of good synthesizer-based intelligent music from the Fragile Gods. But he posted on our Facebook like the day that we recorded this episode, later in the day. And he wrote, "I noticed that these podcasts are taking a long time to create. You could employ AI to dramatically speed up the process. I used the latest AI called GPT-3 to generate a podcast script for Scoundrel Days. And then I used text-to-speech to read the script and convert it to an MP3. It's not very good, but it took less than 5 minutes to produce. I only entered a one-sentence prompt, and the AI generated the rest." So here is an alternate version of Sarah and Brian's Scoundrel Days podcast. Wow, we are really, really long-winded because the AI can cover the whole album in less than 3 minutes. So we hope you enjoy Fragile God's version of Sarah and Brian, the Permanent Record podcast, Scoundrel Days Retrospective.
Hey everyone, it's Brian and Sarah here, and today we're going to be taking a deep dive into a-ha's 1986 album Scoundrel Days. As always, we'll start with a bit of history on the band and the album. a-ha is a Norwegian pop band formed in 1982. The band's original lineup consisted of lead vocalist Morten Harket, guitarist Paul Wakhtar Savoy, and keyboardist Magne Flora Holman. The group rose to fame in the 1980s with their debut album Hunting High and Low, which featured the hit singles Take On Me and The Sun Always Shines on TV. Scoundrel Days is the band's second studio album, and was released in October 1986. The album was a commercial success, reaching the top 10 in several countries, including the UK and US. The album's lead single, I've Been Losing You, was a top 10 hit in several countries. So without further ado, let's get into our review of Scoundrel Days. The album opens with the title track, Scoundrel Days. The song is an up-tempo synth-pop track with a catchy chorus. The lyrics are about a relationship that has ended, and the singer is reflecting on the good times he had with his former lover. Next up is The Swing of Things. This song is a bit more mellow than the opener, with a more reflective tone. The lyrics are about coming to terms with the end of a relationship and moving on. I've Been Losing You is the lead single from the album. The song is an up-tempo synth-pop track with a catchy chorus. The lyrics are about a relationship that has ended, and the singer is reflecting on the good times he had with his former lover. October is a slower, more introspective track. The lyrics are about the singer reflecting on his life and relationships, and feeling like he's lost something that he can't quite put his finger on. Manhattan Skyline is an up-tempo synth-pop track with a catchy chorus. The lyrics are about looking out over the cityscape of Manhattan and reflecting on all that has happened in the singer's life. Cry Wolf is another up-tempo synth-pop track, this one with a bit of an edge to it. The lyrics are about a relationship that has ended, and the singer is accusing his former lover of being untrustworthy. We're Looking for the Whales is a slower track with an ethereal quality to it. The lyrics are about longing for something that seems just out of reach. The album closes with The Blue Sky. This song is a bit more upbeat than the previous few tracks, with a hopeful tone. The lyrics are about looking to the future and hoping for better days ahead.